Have you ever felt like something invisible around you is trying to alert you? It's no coincidence that you're here now. There is a reason, something you need to hear, a message that will not only transform who you are, but could change the course of everything around you. What if I told you that this message does not come from anywhere, but from heaven itself? Today, I will share with you a divine revelation that came through the light of Mary, a messenger directly chosen to issue the most urgent warnings from the Virgin Mary. We are not talking about a simple story or something you can ignore. We're talking about a surprising prophecy, a warning that may be the answer to so many questions you didn't even know you were asking. Do you think these prophecies are related to current events? Leave us your opinion in the comments. But before I continue, I need to ask you, do you believe that things happen by chance, or do you feel that certain messages reach us at the right time, as if someone up there knows exactly what we need? This is your chance to discover something that could change the way you see the world, something so important that if you don't see it through to the end, you could lose a fundamental piece to understanding what's coming. And I know how easy it is to get distracted. You may have a lot going on in your life right now, but let me tell you something. What I'm about to share may answer what your heart has been asking for. You have come here for a reason. What you will do with this is your decision. Will you listen to the end, or will you let this opportunity pass you by? I know something like this may seem heavy, maybe even hard to believe, but if you allow me, I'm not here to convince you of anything. I am here to share something that touched the hearts of thousands, that brought hope, and yes, a powerful warning. In the end, the choice will be all yours. But for now, stay with me. I promise you that what you will hear today will be different from anything you have heard before, because the Virgin Mary does not speak so that her words will be ignored. His messages are delivered as a guide, a warning, and above all, an opportunity for those who have ears to listen. The question you should ask yourself is this for me? And I will help you find that answer. What do you think of this prophecy? Leave your comment below. In the next few minutes you will understand why this heavenly warning is so urgent. You will discover how we are already surrounded by signs and what you should do now. Believe me, you are not here by chance. This is your chance to hear something that few will dare to face. So get ready, take a deep breath, and if you haven't already, like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this too, and tell me in the comments, do you think we're receiving divine signs? I want to know your opinion. Now, let's get started. There are moments when the world seems to pause, as if something bigger is reaching out to us. The Virgin Mary, in her infinite compassion, does not come to judge us, but to alert us. When she manifests, her presence is not just something that is seen or heard, it is something that is felt. Its appearance is not a spectacle, but a deep, unmistakable call, destined to touch the most intimate part of the human soul. In this revelation, his presence brought not only peace, but also an almost palpable urgency. There was a weight to his words, a meaning that sounded like a loving warning. It was not just any message, it was something that came directly from the divine heart, as if heaven itself was trying to break our barriers of indifference and distraction. Luz de Maria, as a messenger, lived this moment intensely, and by sharing what she received, offers us a fragment of that transformative experience. The Virgin Mary does not appear with vague promises or words of comfort that mask reality. His voice is clear, firm, but loaded with a disarming love. It invites us to look inward, to recognize our failures, and to see the path we need to follow. But above all, it reminds us that there is still time, that we still have the opportunity to turn to what really matters. His message came loaded with a powerful warning. not to provoke fear, but to wake us up, to remind us that we are at a critical point in which our decisions, as individuals and as humanity, can determine a future of light or darkness. Subscribe so you don't miss our next revelations. This is the type of presence that leaves no one indifferent. It is impossible to be faced with a message like this and not feel your heart beat faster, your mind full of questions, and your soul searching for answers. The most impressive thing is the mix of love and urgency that his words carry. There is no judgment, but there is no room for passivity either. He treats us like children, like someone who wants the best for us, but knows that we need to hear difficult truths, truths that require courage to face and changes to live. As you listen to this, you may feel restlessness, curiosity. That's her call. You are proof that these words are not only for those who already believe or for those who already walk in faith. They are for everyone. They are for all of us, to remind us that the divine still speaks to us, still cares, and still believes that we can change. What message from the Virgin Mary inspires you the most? But what exactly did the Virgin Mary say? Why is this message so different from any other, and what does it mean for each of us at this very moment? The answers are being revealed, and what is to come is something that could change everything. Are you ready to continue? The message transmitted by the Virgin Mary through Mary's light is not like any other. His words carry a depth that seems to go beyond human understanding, but at the same time, they speak directly to the heart of everyone who allows themselves to listen. This is not just a warning for difficult times, it is a wake-up call, an invitation to abandon apathy and reconnect with what really matters. The warning did not come enigmatically. It was direct, clear, and above all, urgent. The Virgin Mary revealed that we are walking towards a turning point where the decisions we make or fail to make will define not only our destiny, but the destiny of all humanity. This is a warning that cannot be ignored because it carries the force of something that is already happening around us. There is a unique weight to this revelation, not because it is a weight of fear, but because it carries the responsibility of transforming us. His words came as an invitation to look at the world around us and notice the signs that perhaps we have ignored for too long, signs that show that times are changing, that something is coming, something that challenges us to be better, more aware, more connected to what really matters. This celestial alert is not a simple warning of danger, it is an opportunity. The Virgin Mary did not come to scare us, but to prepare us. His message is a beacon, a light that pierces the darkness of chaos we often feel around us. It is also a reminder that even in the most difficult times we are not alone. There is a greater plan at work, and we are part of it. But the real question is, what will we do with this? Will we have the courage to truly listen, to accept that there is something bigger calling us? Or will we continue to ignore the signs, pretending that what is happening in the world does not directly affect us? This is the choice each of us needs to make, and it is a decision that must be made now, because time is running out. The words of the Virgin Mary are like a bridge between what we are today and what we can be. They show us that there is still hope, that there is still time to change course. But this change will not come from outside. It begins within each of us, the moment we decide to open our eyes, listen with our hearts, and act with courage. And now, as you reflect on all of this, you need to ask yourself how these words resonate in your life. What are you willing to do with what you just heard? Because this message is not just another story. It is a call that demands a response, and only you can give that response. Are you ready to continue? The next part will reveal the details of the heavenly warning and how it connects to the signs already before us. Don't leave now. What comes next could be the turning point you've been waiting for. What is to come was announced with precision and urgency. The message of the Virgin Mary through Luz de Maria is not just a warning, it is a revelation that connects past, present, and future events in a disturbing way. Each word is loaded with meaning, as if all the pieces of a spiritual puzzle are fitting together before our eyes. And perhaps the most terrifying thing is not what is to come, but the fact that the signs are already among us. Look around you. The world is not the same anymore. Wars, natural catastrophes, human disasters are not just isolated coincidences. They are not disconnected events. They are interconnected, as if they were echoes of something much greater, something that was foreseen and that is now beginning to unfold before us. But are we paying attention, or are we so busy with the noise around us that we fail to see what really matters? Firstly, I would like to invite you to subscribe to this channel, because here I will be sharing a prophetic message for your heart every day. And don't forget to comment below your prayer request and tell me who you have been praying for in the last few days. Your family, friends, for work, for healing. Make your prayer request below and accompanied by your prayer request. Also tell me what country you are from, so I know which countries our message is reaching. Amen. The Virgin Mary warns us of the importance of preparing ourselves through powerful prayers to achieve protection and salvation for our lives. So download now my digital book, The Powerful Prayer of the Virgin Mary. This material covers a variety of prayers suitable for all occasions in life. Don't waste your time. Click on the link available in the first pinned comment and download it immediately. Units are limited. Therefore, it is crucial to act now to ensure that access to the powerful prayer of the Virgin Mary should be now before units run out. And be sure to paste your book without the first comment posted. It is very important to heed the warnings of our Virgin Mary and prepare yourself for the great torment that will come. The Virgin Mary spoke of clear signs, phenomena in the sky, sudden changes in nature, crises that seem to have no solution. You may have heard of this before, but what makes this message different is the way it connects everything into a single common thread, the urgent need for transformation, and not just the transformation of the world around us, but above all the transformation within each of us. These signs are not to scare us, but to wake us up. Every event, every occurrence that seems so out of the ordinary is a reminder that time is ticking. And in the midst of all this, we are called to look within, to ask ourselves, are we ready? Are we living up to who we were created to be? Or are we lost in a life of distractions and superficialities? There is something deeply uncomfortable about recognizing these signs, because deep down they force us to face truths that we would prefer to avoid. They show us that the world is not under our control, but they also remind us that we have a role to play. We are not just spectators. We are part of this great divine plan, and what we do or don't do matters. The Virgin Mary made it clear that these signs are a warning but also an opportunity. It's not late, but time is running out. And this is precisely what makes this message so urgent, because it is not just a warning for the future, it is an invitation for the present, an invitation to change, to prepare ourselves to reconnect with what really matters. Now, as you listen to this, something inside you feels that there is a truth here that cannot be ignored. It's impossible not to wonder, what if this is real? What if these signs are a direct call to me? What if this message is the opportunity I needed to reevaluate what I'm really doing with my life? What follows is even deeper, because it is not enough to recognize the signs. We need to understand what they demand of us. And that is what we will explore. But before you move forward, ask yourself, are you willing to hear the truth even if it's uncomfortable? If your answer is yes, continue with me. We are only beginning to understand the true scope of this revelation. The next step is to understand the role that each of us plays in this story. The Virgin Mary's message did not come just to point out the signs, but to show us that we are at the center of everything that is happening. We, humanity, are the key piece in this decisive moment. But how do we get here? Why does our current condition have such urgency and weight? The answer lies in something that we often prefer not to face: our choices. We live in a world saturated with distractions. We are so immersed in our own interests and concerns that we stop seeing the impact of our actions or lack thereof. The celestial alert is clear. Humanity is in the eye of a spiritual storm. Our priorities are misaligned, and this is creating a wave of chaos that is reflected in all areas of our existence. The Virgin Mary reminded us that each of us carries within us the ability to choose between light and darkness. But as long as we continue to ignore this power, we continue to feed the forces that distance us from the divine. This is the point we are at now, a moment of collective and individual decision where our actions will have consequences greater than we can imagine. This alert is not about punishment, it is about responsibility. Humanity is not lost, but it is in danger. We are facing a silent battle where the most dangerous enemy is not outside, but inside each of us. Our indifference, our lack of courage to change, our refusal to reconnect with the sacred. Every time we choose to ignore this, we move closer to an uncertain future, a future that was foreseen, but that we can still avoid. The message also reminds us that we are not alone in this fight. The Virgin Mary did not come just to warn us, she came to guide us. But your guidance doesn't work like magic. It calls us to act, to become aware of who we are and what we are doing with our lives. It reminds us that we have the power to change the course of this history, but that this change must begin now. And here's the most important part. There is no neutrality right now. We cannot stay on the sidelines. Every choice, no matter how small it may seem, is putting us on one path or another. The time of passivity is over. What you do matters. How you live matters. And this isn't just for you, it's for the world around you. Your choices resonate and become part of something much bigger. You may be wondering what you can do in the face of something so big. The answer is to start where you are. It starts within you, because the collective change the world needs begins with the decisions you make today. The Virgin Mary made this clear. What is at stake is not only the future of humanity, but the soul of each of us. And now, faced with this call, the question that remains is, what are you going to do with this? Are you going to continue living as if nothing has changed, or are you going to use this moment as a turning point? The next part of this revelation will guide us even deeper, showing us how we can transform this warning into action. Are you ready to discover your role in this scenario? Let's continue together. The message of the Virgin Mary, while revealing the urgency of the moment, also brings an invitation to transformation. It is not only a warning about what is to come, but a direct call to the conversion of every heart. And this conversion is not something distant or reserved for a few. It is a journey accessible to all who are willing to listen and act. But what does this call to conversion really mean? Conversion, as described in the message, is not just an act. It is an internal movement, a profound change in the way we see life, our actions, and the impact we cause in the world. It is an invitation to reevaluate our priorities, to rethink our faith and the extent to which we allow distraction and superficiality to dominate our lives. The Virgin Mary, with her words full of love and firmness, reminds us that this process is not optional, it is essential. This transformation is not easy. It requires courage to look inward and admit where we have failed. It requires humility to recognize that many times we put our desires above what is truly right. But above all, it requires action. It is not enough to hear the message, feel its strength, and continue living the same way. Conversion requires movement. It requires concrete steps that show the universe and ourselves that we are ready for something greater. And where to start? It starts with the simplest, but at the same time most difficult: a change of heart. The Virgin Mary reminds us that love is the basis of all true transformation. not the love that seeks rewards or that is lost in empty words, but the love that challenges us to care for another, to seek the common good, to live with purpose and meaning. This love, when lived fully, is the most powerful response to the chaos we see around us. The call to conversion also carries a promise, the promise that even in the face of challenges and difficulties, there is a path of light, a path that leads us back to the sacred, to the eternal. The Virgin Mary does not ask us for perfection, but she calls us to take the first step. Every little move, every act of kindness, every moment we choose light instead of darkness, we are answering that call. As you listen to this, you may feel that there is a part of you that is resisting, that thinks that maybe you are not ready. But this resistance is just the fear of the unknown. The truth is that we will never be completely ready, because transformation is an ongoing process. The important thing is to start, even if it is with a single act of courage. And here's the bottom line. This change is not just for your benefit, it's for the benefit of the world around you. The Virgin Mary made it clear that each of us has a role to play at this critical moment in history. And this role begins with our own conversion, with our willingness to be the change we want to see. Now, the question that remains is, are you willing to take that step? Are you willing to transform this message into action, this warning into hope? Because the next part of this journey will show us how the signs of the present can become the guides for this transformation. Stay with me, because what comes next may be the key to understanding the true purpose behind all of this. The signs that the Virgin Mary mentioned are not mere coincidences or isolated events. They are all around us, in all aspects of life, in nature, in human relationships, in the spiritual world. They are palpable evidence that time is running out, and that prophecies that once seemed so distant are now being fulfilled before our eyes. But many of us don't see them, or worse, choose to ignore them. These signs come in different forms. In the sky, there are phenomena that were previously seen as impossible, but that now repeat themselves with terrifying frequency. The earth, so generous and abundant, has shown signs of exhaustion. Natural disasters, climatic imbalances, everything tells us that something needs to change. In societies, we see fragmentation, intolerance, and an increasing disconnection from what is essential. But the most powerful signs are those that manifest within us, that restlessness, that feeling that something bigger is coming. The Virgin Mary warned us that these signs are not accidental. They are part of a greater plan, a plan that invites us to wake up before it is too late. Every event that seems out of the ordinary, every occurrence that challenges our understanding, is a reminder that we are living in extraordinary times. These times are not to scare us, but to prepare us. There is a clear urgency in all of this, not because the divine wants to impose fear, but because the time to act is shortening. Each sign is like a knock on our door, an attempt to awaken us to the spiritual reality that we often ignore. But how can we respond to these signs? How can we interpret what they mean for each of us? The first step is to pay attention. We live in a world where everything distracts us, where noise is constant, and the search for quick answers prevents us from seeing what really matters. But the message of the Virgin Mary asks us for the opposite, to be silent, to observe, to reflect, because it is in this state of full attention where we can see the signs clearly. The second step is to act. It is not enough to recognize the signs. It is necessary to transform this perception into action, and this action begins in our daily choices, choosing what is right, even when it is difficult, choosing to listen to the voice of conscience even when it contradicts our desires, choosing be part of the solution instead of contributing to the problem. These are the actions that really matter. Finally, there is a third essential element: trust. The message of the Virgin Mary is not only a warning but a guarantee that we are not alone. Even in the face of the greatest challenges, even when the signs seem bleak, there is a light that guides us. This light is divine love, which never abandons us, even when we stumble. Trusting this love is what gives us strength to move forward. But for all this to make sense, you need to ask yourself, what do these signs mean to me? What are they trying to tell me? And above all, how can I respond to them? Because the signs are here for everyone, but the answer is unique for each of us, and there is still more that will be revealed, because the signs are not the end of the story, they are just the beginning. The next part of this journey will take us to understand the outcome of the prophecies and what they really mean for the future. Don't leave now. What's coming is the missing piece to complete this puzzle. The signs lead us to an inevitable point, the outcome of the prophecies. The message of the Virgin Mary is not only a warning about the present, it is a clear vision of a future that is already beginning to unfold. And this future is not something distant, reserved for other generations. It is before us, closer than we think. We imagine and challenges us to reflect on how our actions today are shaping what is to come. The outcome of the prophecies carries a truth that cannot be ignored. There will be a division, not a physical division, but a spiritual one, where those who choose the light will be separated from those who remain in darkness, not by divine imposition, but by consequence of the choices that each of us makes daily. This is the moment when heaven and earth align, when good and evil become more evident than ever. The world as we know it is changing. Structures that once seemed unbreakable are falling. The economic, political, and social systems are being shaken as if a major warning was being broadcast. And the Virgin Mary made it clear to us that this is just the beginning. These events, however challenging, are not the end. Purification is not to be feared, but understood. It is not a punishment, but an opportunity, a chance for humanity to rediscover itself, to reconnect with what has been lost. It is a painful process because it requires us to leave behind everything that is not essential, everything that distances us from the divine, but it is also a necessary process because only through it can the new emerge. The Virgin Mary warned us about times of difficulty, but she also gave us a promise. After the storm, there will come peace, not a superficial peace, but a true peace, built on reconciliation with God, with our neighbors and with ourselves. This is the final destiny of the prophecies, not destruction, but renewal, a spiritual rebirth that will lead us to a state of harmony that we have forgotten. But this peace will not come automatically. It is an invitation, and it is up to each of us to accept or reject it. This is the moment of decision. What are you going to do? Will you continue to live as if these words are just distant stories, or will you allow them to touch your heart and transform your life? The prophecies also make it clear that we are not alone. The divine never abandons us, even in the most difficult moments. There is a constant presence guiding us, protecting us, and waiting for us to return to it. That is the greatest comfort in the midst of chaos, knowing that no matter how difficult times are, there is a light that never goes out. As we approach the outcome of these messages, the question that resonates is, what will be your role in this story? Will you be someone who surrenders to change, who prepares for what is to come, or will you be someone who resists, who prefers to ignore the signs and continue as if nothing is happening? The choice is in your hands. And now, as we approach the end of this revelation, there is even more to say, because the prophecies not only speak of the future, but also of the present, of what you can do here and now to be part of this transformation. The next part of this journey is a direct invitation to action. Don't leave now. What follows may be the answer you've been looking for. After everything that has been revealed, it is clear that we cannot just be spectators. The prophecies were not given to scare us or paralyze us, but to prepare us. Now is the time to act, to make a difference, to position ourselves as part of the solution and not the problem. The message reminds us that every small gesture has an impact that goes beyond what we can see. These are not great external changes, but rather an internal movement that is inevitably reflected in the world around us. It's time to look within and ask ourselves, what can I do today to align myself with the light? What needs to change in me to be ready to face the challenges ahead? This action begins with simple but powerful choices. Choosing truth instead of convenience. Choosing love instead of selfishness. Choosing compassion instead of judgment. These choices may seem small, but they carry transformative power. It is through them that true change begins, not only in us, but in everything around us. The Virgin Mary reminded us that we are not alone in this process. Every step we take towards the light is supported by a greater force, a force that guides and strengthens us. But this divine help can only reach us if we are willing to open ourselves, to trust, to allow the divine to act in our lives. That is the true essence of faith, not just believing, but acting on that belief. Furthermore, the message also calls us to be lighthouses for others. In a world full of uncertainties, those who choose the light will be guides for those who are still lost. We do not need to be perfect for this. It is enough to be willing, to have the courage to share what we have learned, to live authentically, to be an example of what is possible when we choose good. What is at stake now is not only the future of the world, but the destiny of every soul. Every decision we make brings us closer or further away from divine purpose. This is the time to abandon everything that binds us, everything that prevents us from growing. It is time to reconnect with the eternal, with what really matters. The choice is before you. You can continue living on autopilot, ignoring the signs, pretending this message isn't for you, or you can do something different. You can decide that today will be the day everything changes, the day you answer the call with courage and determination. And now, with all these truths before us, there is only one question that remains. What are you going to do? The words of the Virgin Mary resonate in our hearts, but the final answer is in our hands. The next step is yours, and I hope you choose the light, because the transformation begins now. We reach the crucial moment, the closing of this trip. Everything that has been revealed so far culminates in one central point, the final call of the Virgin Mary. It is not just a warning, but a unique opportunity for transformation, and this moment demands a clear, direct, and urgent response. There is no longer room for doubts or indecision. The message is a divine cry that resonates in each of us, asking us to wake up, to take a stand. This is not just a message about the world around us, it is about you, your life, your choices, and your connection to the eternal. What has been said up to this point points to a reality that many prefer to ignore. We are at an inflection point, and the time to act is now. The question is no longer what is happening, but what I will do from this. The Virgin Mary gave us a clear direction. Convert our hearts. That means abandoning everything that distances us from the divine and embracing a life aligned with the purpose for which we were created. But this conversion is not just about prayers or rituals, but about action, about living according to the values we know to be true. It is about leaving behind indifference, superficiality, and reconnecting with the essence of what really matters. This is the time to reflect deeply. Think about everything that has been revealed, in the signs that surround us, in the urgency of the prophecies, in the opportunity for transformation that is presented to us. Ask yourself, what can I do today to answer this call? How can I begin to build a future aligned with light in my daily life? The answer is within you, and it doesn't need to be perfect or great, just true. The important thing is to start, to take a step in the right direction, even if it is small, because every step you take toward the light strengthens your spirit and illuminates the path for others around you. The message of the Virgin Mary is an invitation to hope. Even in the face of challenges, even in the midst of the storm, there is a promise of peace, of renewal, of reconnection. But this promise cannot be lived passively. It demands that each of us stand up, do our part, choose the light, even when everything seems dark. And now we come to the final question. What are you going to do with this? Are you going to continue as if nothing has changed, or will you transform this moment into a milestone, a turning point in your life? The choice is yours, and it must be made now. If you have come this far, it is because something inside you is already changing. Don't ignore it. Use it as an impetus to take the next step. Comment, share, leave your reflections. Together, we can be part of this transformation, of this light that the Virgin Mary invites us to spread throughout the world. And remember, you are not alone. The divine walks by your side. But the decision is yours. Choose the light. Choose to act. Choose to live with purpose. The time is now. The transformation begins in you. This is the final moment of this journey. The moment when all the pieces of the message come together to form an inescapable truth. You are called to be an active part of this transformation. There is no more room for doubt or hesitation. What has been revealed is too powerful to be ignored, and what you do from now on will determine not only your path, but the impact you will have on the world around you. The Virgin Mary, with her infinite wisdom and compassion, delivered this message with a clear purpose: to wake us up. But awakening is not enough. Awakening is just the beginning. You need to stand up, act, and commit to real change. This is not a superficial or passing transformation. It is a profound renewal, a reconnection with the eternal and the true. What has been said here is not just to be heard, but to be lived. Each word carries with it an invitation. Abandon indifference, leave fear, and choose the light. This is the most urgent call you can receive, because it comes directly from the divine heart, and in this moment you have the power to decide how you will respond. You don't need to be perfect to answer this call. You don't need to have all the answers or know exactly what to do. The important thing is to start, to take a step in the right direction, even if it is small. Because each step you take towards the light strengthens your spirit and illuminates the path for others around you. The message also reminds us that we are not alone on this journey. The divine is with us, guiding and strengthening every effort, every attempt to live with more love, more courage, more authenticity. That is the comfort that sustains us, knowing that even in the most challenging moments, we are never abandoned. Now, the final question is direct and simple. What are you going to do with this message? Will you let it be just another story you heard, or will you allow it to transform your life? What has been said here has the power to change everything, but this power will only be activated if you decide to act. If this message touched something inside you, share it, comment. How do you feel? What do you think? What are you planning to do? This interaction is part of the process because individual transformation is explained when we share our intentions and inspire each other. What lies ahead is a future you can help shape, and it starts now with your choice. This is the starting point for something much greater, something you are destined not only to witness, but to experience fully. The light is before you. Will you reach it? The time is now. Choose the light. Choose to be part of this transformation. Choose to act. The message of the Virgin Mary is not just a warning, it is a portal towards transformation, an invitation to leave behind everything that binds us and walk towards a life with purpose, with light, with truth. Now you know that the signs are there, all around us, crying out for attention. You know that prophecies are not distant stories, but realities that begin to unfold before our eyes, and you know that the choice of how to respond to this is completely in your hands. This is not the time to hesitate, it is the time to act. The message of the Virgin Mary is a call to something greater, something that transcends the individual and reaches the collective. It's about how every small change in you can resonate in the world, creating a wave of light that breaks through the darkness. If there is something you should take away from this encounter, it is the certainty that the divine does not give up on us. Even in the midst of chaos, there is a promise of hope. Even in the face of darkness, there is a light that never goes out. This light is within you. It is in the love that you choose to share, in the courage to change what must be changed, in the faith that you decide to live. But transformation begins with one step, one simple step, and it can begin now. Recognize the signs around you. Ask the questions that need to be asked. Allow yourself to be vulnerable to this message, because it is in that vulnerability where we find the strength to rebuild ourselves. More than that, share it. Don't keep it just for yourself. There are others who need to hear it, who need to wake up and need to know that there is hope. Every word you share is a spark of light, and the more we sow it, the more light we bring into the world. Before I finish, let me ask you, how do you feel now? What sparked this message in you? I want to know. Don't hold back. Leave it in the comments. Your reflections, doubts, and faith can create a community of transformation. Together we can respond to the call with the strength it deserves. The Virgin Mary delivered her message with love, but also with urgency, an urgency that we cannot ignore. And now you are part of this story. What comes next is up to you. The time is now. The choice is yours. Answer the call. Live the transformation. Be the light. The Virgin Mary delivered her message with love, but also with urgency, an urgency that we cannot ignore. And now, you are part of this story. What comes next is up to you. The time is now. The choice is yours. Answer the call. Live the transformation. Be the light. This is the moment when the course of your life is defined. This is not a time to doubt or hesitate. It is the moment when the decisions you make will not only impact your future, but also the future of the world around you. The divine has offered you a unique opportunity, an opportunity for transformation, rediscovery, and renewal, but that opportunity will only be valid if you decide to take advantage of it. Remember that you are not alone on this path. The Virgin Mary has told us that she will always be with us, guiding us with her love and light. Every step you take towards the light will be supported by a greater force, a force that will drive you to be the best version of yourself, to live with purpose and to act with courage. Change is not something that will happen automatically. Each day presents you with a new opportunity to align your decisions with what is divine, to act with love and compassion, and to be a beacon of light in a world that so needs it. What you do today matters. Every small gesture of kindness, every act of love, every decision to act with integrity adds to the common good and brings you closer to divine light. The call of the Virgin Mary is clear. Transform your heart, open your mind, and act. The future depends on the decisions you make now. You are an active part of this change. Don't stay on the sidelines. The time is now. There is no more time to wait. And at the end of this journey, when you look back, may you see that you made the right decision, that you were brave to answer the call. Transformation begins with you, and that transformation will not only change your life, but will also light the path of those around you. With every step you take towards the light, more people will be touched by your example, and together we can create a world fuller of peace, love, and hope. The future that the Virgin Mary has shown us is not something distant, it is something that is happening now. Every decision you make brings you closer or further away from that reality. So what are you going to do with this opportunity? The answer is in your hands. Choose the light, choose to act, choose to live with purpose and be part of the solution. This is the moment. The transformation begins now. Thank you for being here and for allowing this light to touch your heart. May the light of the Virgin Mary always accompany you. This is the moment. The transformation begins now. Thank you for being here and for allowing this light to touch your heart. May the light of the Virgin Mary always accompany you. Remember that this call is not only for you, but for everyone who is willing to listen. As you take this step toward transformation, it's critical that you don't keep it to yourself. Share this message. Share it with those who need to hear these words. If something has touched your life, it is time to expand it, to bring this light to other souls who, perhaps, have not yet found the way. Every word you share, every reflection you make, has a profound impact on the world. Like a beacon in the darkness, you can guide those who have not yet awakened to the urgency of this message. Do not underestimate the power of your voice, your example, and your faith. There are people who, perhaps without knowing it, are waiting for you to act as the bridge between them and the divine light. This is a collective journey. Each of us has a responsibility in the transformation process. The future is not written in advance, but is being written by each of us in this very moment with our decisions, our actions, and our willingness to respond to the divine call. The Virgin Mary has shown us the way. He has given us the gift of faith, hope, and love. Now it is up to us to take those gifts and make them alive in our daily lives. It's not just about praying or waiting for change to happen on its own. It's about standing up, taking action, and being instruments of change in the world. The light is within your reach. Don't stop. Don't give up. The future you can create, the future you can help build, is in your hands. The time to act is now. So what are you going to do with all this? Are you going to carry on as if nothing has changed? Or are you going to be part of the transformation that the world so badly needs? The answer is yours. At the end of this path, when you look back, you will be able to see that you made a momentous decision, a decision that changed your life and the world around you. The Virgin Mary has shown you the way to the light. Now it's your turn to take the next step. Because remember, the transformation begins with you. May the peace, love, and wisdom of the Virgin Mary always accompany you. May the fire of His light guide you in every step, and that, with each action, you continue to be an active part of this transformation process that has already begun. The choice is yours. The time is now. Act with courage, with faith, with love. And remember, there will always be light for those who choose to walk towards it. God bless you. Purification, understood in this context, is a process that should not be feared, but rather understood as a transcendent opportunity. Throughout our lives, we accumulate distractions, selfishness, and actions that distance us from the divine. However, purification offers us the possibility of cleansing our soul and rediscovering the essentials of our existence. This is not a punishment, but an invitation to let go of what is unnecessary so that we can embrace a life aligned with divine purposes. This process can be painful because it forces us to face our shadows and weaknesses, but it is necessary so that we can achieve a fuller existence connected to the sacred. By understanding that purification is not a form of suffering, but a means to achieve inner peace, we can free ourselves from fear and resistance. Every act of renunciation of the material or that which diverts us from the spiritual path is a step towards authenticity and true connection with the divine. This is a personal process that requires courage, but at the same time, it brings with it a spiritual rebirth that allows us to rediscover our deepest essence. Purification then becomes a means by which we achieve lasting peace, a peace that does not depend on external circumstances, but on our reconciliation with God and with ourselves. The Virgin Mary, by warning us about times of difficulty, also gives us hope that, after the storm, peace will come. This peace is not superficial or ephemeral, but a deep peace, founded on reconciliation with the divine. Purification not only cleanses us of what distances us from God, but also prepares us to receive that peace. It is the necessary space where divine love can enter, transforming us and guiding us towards a full life. Therefore, instead of fearing it, we should see purification as a blessing, an opportunity to elevate our spirit and experience the purpose of our existence in harmony with the divine. Spiritual transformation is a journey that invites us to look within ourselves, and to question the beliefs we have adopted throughout our lives. This call does not refer to a superficial change, but to a deep transformation that begins in the heart. The Virgin Mary invites us to leave behind the comfort of our spiritual routines and open ourselves to a process that can be challenging but essential for our inner evolution. Spiritual transformation is not just an option, but an urgent need for those who seek to align with divine plans and understand the true purpose of their existence. This call to transformation also involves recognizing the areas of our lives that need to be healed and transformed. We often cling to aspects of our personality and character that distance us from our true essence. Transformation requires us to free ourselves from the chains of ego, greed, and indifference in order to embrace love and compassion. This is not something that happens overnight, but is a gradual process of purification and spiritual growth. By accepting this calling, we open ourselves to a new way of being, more connected to the divine and to others. Ultimately, this process of spiritual transformation allows us to transcend everyday difficulties, offering a higher purpose for our lives. It is a path to inner peace, which allows us to face challenges with faith and hope. The Virgin Mary, as a model of faith and devotion, reminds us that true transformation comes from our relationship with the divine. By following this calling, we not only change our lives, but we also positively influence the world around us, becoming agents of change and peace. Spiritual transformation is an invitation to be reborn, to be better versions of ourselves, and to get closer to the divine light. Every action we take is a reflection of our internal decisions. Whether we make big or small decisions, they all lead us towards a certain destination. The Virgin Mary reminds us of the importance of making decisions aligned with the common good, truth, and divine light. Every thought and action has the power to shape our lives, but it also has the potential to impact the lives of others. Living in accordance with divine truth is not just a personal choice, but a way to create collective change in humanity. The decisions we make reflect our values and our connection to the divine. If we choose to follow the path of light, our actions will align with love, compassion, and peace. However, when we make decisions based on ego, fear, or ignorance, we move away from our true essence and divine purpose. The Virgin Mary invites us to be aware of our choices, since each one has consequences not only for us, but for the world around us. Our individual decisions are like small seeds that, when they grow, can transform the soil on which they fall. Furthermore, individual decisions are a reflection of our will to be better people and live in accordance with the values that really matter. When we choose love over hate, peace over conflict, truth over lies, we are making a positive contribution to the world. Each of these decisions brings us closer to realizing our divine purpose and fulfilling the mission we have been given. By making wise decisions guided by divine love, we not only change our lives, but we become active agents of spiritual change in humanity. The presence of the divine is a constant in our lives, although many times we are not aware of it. In times of difficulty, it is easy to feel alone or lost, but we must remember that the divine never abandons us. The Virgin Mary, as spiritual mother, is always present to guide us, protect us, and give us strength. He invites us to open our hearts to feel His presence and trust that we are being guided toward our purpose. His unconditional love is a safe haven that offers us comfort and direction in times of uncertainty. The constant presence of the divine is not only in moments of crisis, but also in moments of calm and peace. The divine manifests itself in small daily blessings, in the beauty of nature, in human relationships, in acts of kindness. It is important to be attentive to these signs, as they are ways in which the divine speaks to us and connects us with the sacred. The Virgin Mary teaches us to recognize these manifestations of the divine and to respond with gratitude and faith. The divine presence is not something distant, but something close and accessible, which we can fully experience if we open our hearts. The constant presence of the divine also reminds us that we are never truly alone. Although circumstances may seem difficult or even desperate, there is always a greater force that sustains us. This presence gives us hope that everything has a purpose, and that even in the darkest moments, divine light is with us. The Virgin Mary, as mother and guide, shows us that connection with the divine is a continuous process that strengthens and transforms us. As we open ourselves to this presence, we find peace, comfort, and the direction necessary to walk the path of light. We live in times where the urgency of responding to the divine call has never been clearer. The world is full of distractions and confusion, but the Virgin Mary calls us to listen and act. We cannot sit idly by, waiting for things to change on their own. The transformation that the world needs begins in each of us. The divine call invites us to be aware of the signs that are around us and to make conscious decisions to contribute to the common good. To ignore this call is to follow the path of indifference, which distances us from the divine and the purpose of our existence. The call to action is urgent because the times we live in require us to be prepared and willing to do our part. The Virgin Mary teaches us that responding to the call is not something that is postponed, but is an immediate act of faith and action. Each day gives us a new opportunity to align ourselves with divine principles and to do good in the world. The urgency of this call not only refers to the future but to the present. It is now when we must take the reins of our life and begin to live according to the values that the divine has shown us. Urgency also implies a call to collective conscience. It's not just about what we can do individually, but how our actions, when added together, can create a much greater impact. The Virgin Mary reminds us that we are all connected and that our response to the divine call can trigger a chain of transformation. By acting with courage and determination, we become an example for others and inspire them to join the path of light. It is time to put aside doubts and act, because the time to do so is now. Conversion is not simply an external act, but an internal change that affects all aspects of our lives. The Virgin Mary invites us to reflect on our interior, to recognize our weaknesses, and to align ourselves with the divine. This conversion process involves a deep commitment to our own spiritual growth. It is not just about following external rules or making superficial gestures, but about an authentic transformation that begins in the deepest part of our being and is manifested in our daily actions. This internal movement of conversion requires humility and willingness to change. We must be willing to let go of old ways of thinking and acting that no longer serve our divine purpose. People often resist conversion because they fear losing part of what they know. But the truth is that only through conversion can we experience freedom and inner peace. The Virgin Mary, as spiritual mother, guides us through this process, showing us that true conversion is a return to our divine essence, a reconnection with the sacred. Furthermore, conversion is a continuous process. This is not a one-time event, but rather a daily commitment to living in accordance with divine principles. Every action, every thought, and every decision must be aligned with love, compassion, and justice. As we enter this conversion process, our lives begin to reflect the divine light more clearly. The Virgin Mary teaches us that this conversion is not only for our personal benefit, but to contribute to the transformation of the world. It is an act of love and service that benefits both our spirit and humanity as a whole. We often underestimate the power of the small choices we make every day. We believe that only big decisions have an impact, but the reality is that every small action has a profound effect on our lives and the world. The Virgin Mary reminds us that everyday choices, even if they seem insignificant, are what define who we are and how we relate to others. Every decision, whether personal, professional, or spiritual, impacts our connection to the divine and our assigned purpose. By making small choices aligned with love and justice, we are sowing the seeds of meaningful change. These choices, although seemingly small, have a transformative power that accumulates over time. For example, choosing to be kind, patient, and compassionate with others creates a ripple effect that can change the environment around us. Likewise, our choices of honesty, integrity, and faith in the divine are what bring us closer to our spiritual purpose. The Virgin Mary teaches us that we should not wait to make great gestures to make a difference. Every little action counts. Furthermore, the power of small choices lies in their ability to influence others. We are often unaware of the impact we have on the people around us. By choosing to live in accordance with divine values, we become a beacon of light that can guide others to the same path. Small choices of kindness, generosity, and faith have a multiplier effect, inspiring others to do the same. The Virgin Mary invites us to be aware of this power and to take advantage of every opportunity to make decisions that reflect divine love and light in our lives. The divine message is not meant to be kept just for us. The Virgin Mary teaches us that the purpose of receiving this message is to share it with others. When we experience peace, light, and divine love in our lives, we cannot keep them to ourselves. The true spiritual mission involves being witnesses and bearers of that light to the world. The message of the Virgin Mary is not only transmitted with words, but with our daily actions. Every time we act with compassion, love, and faith, we are sharing the divine message with those around us. Sharing the divine message also involves an act of generosity and service toward others. We must not only talk about light, but live it in our daily lives. Helping those in need, offering comfort to those who suffer, and providing support to those in need are concrete ways of sharing divine love. The Virgin Mary invites us to be instruments of change, to be light in a world that often seems plunged into darkness. In doing so, we not only transform our own lives, but we also help others find their own path to the divine. Sharing the divine message is also a way to inspire others to take their own spiritual journey. The light we radiate can serve as a guide for those who are still searching for answers. Our faith and commitment to the divine path can be an example to others. The Virgin Mary reminds us that by sharing the message, we are not only contributing to the well-being of those around us, but also fulfilling our spiritual purpose of being agents of transformation in the world. Each of us has a personal responsibility in the process of spiritual transformation. However, this transformation is not only an individual process, but also a collective one. The Virgin Mary teaches us that the spiritual work we do in our daily lives has a much greater impact when added to that of others. Every action we take, every decision we make, not only affects our lives, but also contributes to the transformation of the world. By being aware of this connection, we can understand that our personal purpose is linked to the well-being of all humanity. Collective work is essential on the path to spiritual transformation, since we are all interconnected. When one of us grows spiritually, it creates a vibration that can positively affect others. By working together to embrace divine love and live by spiritual values, we can create global change that goes beyond our individual actions. The Virgin Mary reminds us that we are part of something much bigger than ourselves, and that by contributing our personal efforts, we are helping to build a more enlightened and peaceful world. Furthermore, the connection between the individual and the collective means that our choices not only affect our lives, but also future generations. The impact of our actions resonates over time, and what we do today will influence the world of tomorrow. Every small change we make toward the light has the potential to change the course of history. The Virgin Mary invites us to become aware of this collective responsibility, since our active participation in the transformation process is essential to create a world aligned with divine principles. The future is not predestined, but is being written by each of us. The Virgin Mary reminds us that we have the power to influence what is to come through our actions in the present. We cannot wait for the future to change without doing anything about it. Each of us has the ability to contribute to the creation of a more just, loving, and peaceful world. The future is shaped by the decisions we make today, by what we choose to be and do at this very moment. By understanding that the future is in our hands, we realize that we have immense power to change our reality. It is not just about waiting for destiny to take us where it should go, but about being aware that we have an active role in the process. Every action we take, no matter how small, can change the direction of the future, both personally and collectively. The Virgin Mary invites us to take that power and use it to do good, to sow seeds of love and light that will flourish in the future. The future we can create is a future based on peace, harmony, and divine justice. By making conscious decisions aligned with divine principles, we can create a world where light prevails over darkness, where compassion and love are the pillars of our society. The Virgin Mary invites us to be the architects of that future, to be brave and determined in our actions so that we can live in a world that reflects divine love and truth. The future is in our hands, and the time to act is now. Conversion is not simply an external act, but an internal change that affects all aspects of our lives. The Virgin Mary invites us to reflect on our interior, to recognize our weaknesses, and to align ourselves with the divine. This conversion process involves a deep commitment to our own spiritual growth. It is not just about following external rules or making superficial gestures, but about an authentic transformation that begins in the deepest part of our being and is manifested in our daily actions. This internal movement of conversion requires humility and willingness to change. We must be willing to let go of old ways of thinking and acting that no longer serve our divine purpose. People often resist conversion because they fear losing part of what they know. But the truth is that only through conversion can we experience freedom and inner peace. The Virgin Mary, as spiritual mother, guides us through this process, showing us that true conversion is a return to our divine essence, a reconnection with the sacred. Furthermore, conversion is a continuous process. This is not a one-time event, but rather a daily commitment to living in accordance with divine principles. Every action, every thought, and every decision must be aligned with love, compassion, and justice. As we enter this conversion process, our lives begin to reflect the divine light more clearly. The Virgin Mary teaches us that this conversion is not only for our personal benefit, but to contribute to the transformation of the world. It is an act of love and service that benefits both our spirit and humanity as a whole. Comment below for protection. Type, "Free Lord from all evil and danger." I would like to invite you to pray right now and pray, so don't forget to put your prayer request in the comments. If you have already done so, write it down. Amen. Let us pray for your life. Hail Mary, full of grace. The Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Glory to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. As it was in the beginning, now and forever. Amen. Jaculatory. Oh, my Jesus, forgive us, save us from the fires of hell, lead all souls to heaven, and help especially those who need it most. Amen. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you will find more content and experiences of spiritual growth together. We can shed light on the darkness and build a better future. Thank you for listening and sharing this prayer. May peace and divine light always accompany you. Amen. And be sure to paste your book without the first published comment. It is very important to heed the warnings of our Virgin Mary and prepare for the great torment to come.